Houston, 1960. A young George rolls up to a beat-down little house with his mom and his siblings. There's no power. The walls are barely standing. The cupboards are empty. That night, his mother takes one hamburger, cuts it into 4, and slides a piece to each of her kids. The boy is starving and ready to dig in, but his older sister stops him so they can pray.
Thank God for the food first, y'all.
I'm so hungry. I could eat this table.
You know exactly what this family needs.
Amen.
Thank you, Mary.
He grits his teeth, sits through it, and then swallows his share whole. Later that night, his mom pulls him aside. She's serious. He cannot get held back at school again. There's no way he'd catch up. She begs him to stop swinging on the other kids. He nods, but you can already tell he doesn't believe his own promise.
If you get held back another year, you won't ever catch back up.
I promise.
You won't fight.
Walking into class the next morning, the boy gets stared at from every direction. His clothes are filthy. He raises his hand to take a stab at what the teacher just asked. She ignores him, calls on a kid in shiny shoes instead. At lunch, he sits by himself with nothing to eat while everyone else has food. One classmate starts mocking him, holds out some bread, treats him like a stray dog, telling him to come fetch. The boy snaps. He drops the kid with one punch. The second the teacher comes around the corner, he runs. Years later, he'll say it himself. Anger was his only answer for anything, and fighting was the one thing he was actually any good at. Years go by. The kid is older now, hanging outside a bar with a buddy. A drunk guy stumbles into the street, and the two of them figure he's an easy mark. They follow him, lining up to roll him for whatever he's got. Then everything goes sideways. The drunk is a cop. It's a setup. Sirens fly in from every direction, and our guy bolts. He scrambles underneath some house to hide. A Kenyan cop pulls up with his dog. He can hear that dog getting close, so he does the only thing he can think of. He rolls himself in raw sewage so the dog can't pick up his scent. Works like a charm. They walk right past. Filthy and pissed off, the boy walks home. On the way, a television set in some shop window is playing an ad for something called Job Corps, a program that takes kids out of trouble, teaches them a trade, gives them a roof and food, and even a small paycheck. He runs home and tells his mom. She doesn't try to talk him out of it. She tells him she's always known there's more to him than he sees, and that if he goes, he'd better not come crawling back home crying. Whatever he starts, he finishes. A couple days after that, he's stepping off a bus at the California Job Corps facility. A guard at the gate runs through the rules. Inside, our guy doesn't even make it to lights out before he's already squaring up with a roommate over a bunk, a guy named Desmond. Then he opens his bag and finds something his mom slipped in. Brand new Converse sneakers, plus a note. Desmond's eyes are locked on those shoes the whole time. In electrical class, the boy is completely lost. He can't follow the lesson, and the other kids start cracking up. He shoots them his fight stare, the only weapon he's got. That night, Desmond is blasting music while George is trying to read. Our guy yanks the cord out of the wall. They argue. Desmond pulls a flask, offers him a drink, gets a no. But somehow, somewhere in that exchange, the two of them stop being enemies. Desmond tells him to come grab dinner and the kid lights up. He goes to put on his new shoes, and they're not there. Stolen. Desmond tells him to report it after they eat. Then, on the way over, he brags about his side hustle. He's been put on cafeteria duty because he's good with numbers, and he's been quietly tweaking the order forms. Less of the stuff nobody wants, way more brownies. Everyone in the place loves him for it. Down in the chow hall, our guy spots a kid wearing his sneakers. The thief sees the look on his face and books it back to his dorm, slamming the door behind him. The boy kicks that door clean off the hinges, drags him over to the window, and is about to chuck him out into the open air when Doc Broadus storms in and pulls him off. Outside in his car, Doc tells him this is it. He's already pushed 3 roommates out of the program, and now he's smashed up an innocent door for good measure. Doc pulls out cash to cover bus fare home. The kid begs. Tells him there's no home left to go back to. This place is everything he's got. Doc looks him over for a long second, then asks if he's done any boxing before. Just street brawls, the boy says. Doc tells him a brawl in an alley and a boxing match aren't the same thing. Boxing is a real sport with real rules. And it just so happens Doc runs the boxing club at the facility. He's been watching this kid throw guys through walls. Tells him he's plenty big and plenty ugly, and maybe that's a real future right there. The kid says yes immediately. Next morning at training, Doc puts him in with a sparring partner. The other kid says something smart. Our guy reacts like he's gonna kill him, and Doc has to remind him this isn't an alley. Off to the side, Desmond is already taking bets. The bell goes. George comes out throwing haymakers. No footwork, no defense, nothing but rage. The other kid picks him apart and drops him. The whole gym is laughing. Humiliated, our guy storms out of the ring, lays into a heavy bag, and rips it off its chain with one one shot. The room goes dead silent. Down inside the locker room afterward, Doc cools him down, tells him the kid who just embarrassed him was right where George is now 6 months back. With real training, he can be every bit as good. Forget what those other guys think, just work. So Doc starts him from zero. Footwork, jab, combinations, defense. The strength is all there, but boxing is half about thinking and half about throwing. And the thinking part is where our guy struggles. One day, he calls his mom from a payphone. The conversation is going great, right up until he tells her he's getting into the sport. She doesn't like the word fighting anywhere near him. He tries to explain that this is a regulated sport with actual rules. The line cuts out before they can really get into it. A few weeks later, our guy is back in the ring with that same kid who beat him. This time, it's a whole different story. He drops him in seconds. Doc just shakes his head. This boy is moving fast. George heads up to Doc's office and finds out his coach used to fight pro himself. Won 24 straight, then traded his gym shorts for army fatigues. The kid pulls out a magazine, Joe Frazier on the cover, and tells Doc he's gonna be world champ. Doc tells him to slow down. The Olympic Games are next summer, but he's nowhere close to ready. 5 years. Easy. The kid says by then he's gonna be an old guy. Cut to the next summer. Our guy is 19, with 1 full year of training under his belt, walking out for the gold medal bout at the Olympic Games. Across from him is a Soviet fighter with way more experience. The commentators don't give the kid a shot. Back in Houston, his whole family is camped out around the TV. The whole Job Corps is watching. Even his mom, who can't stand the violence, sits down beside her kids to see it. The bell goes. A few clean shots later, it's over. Gold medal. The boy grabs a small American flag and walks the ring waving it high. His brothers and sisters can't believe what they're seeing. Their brother just won Olympic gold at 19 years old. Next day, he's walking through his old neighborhood with the medal hanging around his neck. He runs into one of the guys from the streets. The guy isn't smiling. He calls the kid a sellout for waving the flag, points out that other black athletes that same year stood on the podium with their heads down in protest. Our guy goes home angry and dumps it all on his mom. He's tired of catching heat from his own people. She offers to cook him whatever he wants. He has no appetite. She says she never thought she'd hear those words out of his mouth. Her voice steadies him. And right there, he tells her he's going for the heavyweight belt. Make every last person respect him. She asks if he's just gonna keep on fighting and getting hurt. He shakes his head. They don't hurt him. He hurts them. Over at the airport, the kid spots a beautiful woman flipping through a sports magazine. His face is on the front. He walks up and starts a conversation. Her name's Paula. Her flight is called and she's about to leave. So he scrambles to ask for her number. She turns it around, tells him she's not the type of woman who waits by a phone, and asks for his number instead. He scribbles it down. After she walks off, he says quietly to himself that no, she sure isn't. Back at training camp, Doc brings in fresh staff. Dick Sadler will run the business side. Archie Moore, who used to wear the light heavyweight crown, comes on board to train. They give him a speech he won't forget. On the morning you walk into a championship bout, the air actually tastes new. The sun looks new. And in the whole wide world, only 2 guys really matter that day. He's about to be one of them. The big man starts grinding his way up the ladder, one opponent after another, all going to sleep. Paula calls. They start dating. Pretty soon, she's at every fight, watching her boyfriend rack up wins. He hits 22-0. They get married. After his 36th straight win, his coaches tell him it's time for the title shot. The fight goes down in Jamaica. George Foreman versus Joe Frazier. Smokin Joe just beat Muhammad Ali 2 years back, and almost no one is picking the kid. The crowd is chanting Frazier's name. Round 1. Smokin Joe lands a brutal left hook, but our guy comes back with vicious body shots. Frazier connects with another one of those hooks. Then, right before the bell, the big man uncorks an uppercut and Smokin Joe is on the floor. The bell saves him. Over the next rounds, our guy puts him down again and again, until the ref has no choice but to wave it off. George Foreman is the new world heavyweight champion. At the after party, he's swarmed by reporters and well-wishers. A gorgeous woman across the room locks eyes with him. He pulls Desmond aside and offers him a job. Financial manager. Desmond is shocked, then grins, then immediately puts down his drink when George says he's quit drinking. Later, the new champ heads back upstairs to his hotel suite, and that woman is sitting on his bed waiting. He knows what he should do. He doesn't do it. The next morning, he can hardly look in the mirror. Then the TV is on, and there's Muhammad Ali mocking him in some interview, swearing he'll punch him right back to the slums. The big man's blood starts heating up. Months go by, and our guy throws a family dinner at a giant new mansion. He shows his mom around his fleet of luxury cars. She wonders out loud why one man needs 5 vehicles. He tells her every one of them has its own attitude. Seeing his daughter brings him real joy, but he and Paula barely look at each other. At the dinner table, his mom reminds everyone to give thanks to God for the meal in front of them. The big man brushes that off. His sister announces she's expecting. Desmond chimes in to say he's parked all of George's money in solid investments. The champ is happy hearing that. Then Paula gets up to grab a phone call. And it's another woman on the line, one of George's flings. She comes back and confronts him. She says she was perfectly fine before any of this. He tells her he gives her everything. She fires back that she doesn't want everything. She wants him. He can't even meet her eyes. The next stop is the Congo, where George is set to take on Muhammad Ali himself. Over there, Ali is treated as basically royalty. Everyone is behind him. Walking into the hotel, the big man finds Ali holding court with a room full of celebrities, doing comedy at George's expense, promising to dance circles around him, promising the sports writers will eat their words. The champ walks up. The room braces. Ali waves him off, claims they were discussing some other guy. Our man says nothing and walks out. People start chuckling, saying if George boxes the way he handles a microphone, this is going to be a quick night. Ali is so loved here that the whole country has started chanting Ali Bomay. Ali, kill him. The commentators still don't think Ali has a chance after what George did to Smokin Joe. The bell rings and the big man owns the early rounds, landing huge shots while Ali tries to dance and counter. Ali is talking trash the whole time, asking if that's all the champ's got, telling him he was supposed to be scary. It's working. Our guy gets madder and madder, swinging wilder and wilder, pinning Ali back against the ropes for round after round. But all that fury is burning through his fuel. In the corner, Sadler and Archie keep telling him to push harder. Doc, watching from the wings, isn't saying anything, but his face says everything. He can see his fighter slowing down. By the 8th, the big man is empty. Ali is fresh. A handful of clean punches and our guy is on the canvas. Knockout. The champ has just lost his first fight. The crowd loses its mind for their hero. After the fight, our guy takes a hard look at himself. He sees how the rage blinded him to what was right in front of him. He calls Paula and swears he'll never walk out on her again. She's already gone. She wants him to sign the papers. He goes to his mom for comfort and tells her he fired Sadler and Archie, pinned the loss on them. She backs him up. Trying to prove he's still that guy, the big man cooks up a stunt. He's gonna take on 5 different boxers in a single night. Doc tells him this is reckless. Drop it. He does it anyway. Ali shows up to commentate and starts hamming it up the second he sits down, calling him a clown, telling him not to hurt himself out there. The crowd starts chanting Ali's name. Furious, our guy turns and challenges Ali right then and there to a rematch, and the two of them get into a shouting match. He still finishes the stunt, beats every one of those guys, knocks 3 of them out cold. The power's all there, the skill's all there. Behind closed doors, Doc gets in his face. What did he think he was proving? He tells him to go back to taking guys on one by one. Then a message comes in. The big man rushes to a hospital. His sister went into labor early and is bleeding bad. The baby might not make it. He tells the doctors he'll pay anything. They tell him there are no better doctors. At this point, only a miracle can save the baby. Their family starts to pray. Our guy steps outside and prays alone. He asks God why his sister, the kindest person he's ever known, tells God that if a life has to be taken, take his. Next morning, his mom shakes him awake. They walk to his sister's room. She's sitting up in bed, cradling a healthy baby boy. The doctors have no explanation. She names him Little George. Tells her brother she knows he prayed, and that whatever he said to God up there, it worked. But the boxing keeps going wrong. He drops a fight to Jimmy Young on the judges' cards. Back behind the scenes, his coach is all over him. Tells him he just blew his rematch with Ali. Our guy is overheating. His body's shutting down from heat stroke, and he starts hearing a voice. He asks who said that. No one answers. He goes down and blacks out. When he comes around, Doc tells him they thought they'd lost him. The big man looks up and says Jesus is alive, inside him right now. Doc just stares. Days later, he's baptized. Soon after, our guy is standing in front of a congregation, nervously telling them the story of finding God. He spots a young woman in the crowd really listening to him, and it settles him down. He tells everyone he's giving everything he has to the Lord and becoming a preacher. Doc doesn't buy a word of it, thinks it's a stunt, and he's hurt by the call. The big man reminds him of something Doc said a long time back, about how Doc himself swapped out one kind of uniform for a different one. That's exactly what George is doing now. Doc tells him his own choice got made for him. Our guy says the same thing happened to him. Then he goes to see Ali. Ali keeps cracking jokes, says he didn't even know Jesus was lost. The big man tells him there used to be a time he wanted that man dead. Now all he wants is forgiveness. Ali is still half kidding, offering offers him a rematch if he goes through Ken Norton first, says they'll both get paid. Praise Jesus. Our guy tells him this is for real. They talk it out. The two of them start patching things up. Eventually, they end up close friends. He goes to Paula and apologizes for everything he ever put her through. Then he goes back to his church and walks up to that young woman from the crowd. They start talking. She doesn't think a former boxer can really turn into a preacher. So our guy grabs a microphone, walks straight out of the church, and starts preaching to people on the sidewalk. Some of them mock him. He doesn't bite. The young woman watches from across the street, impressed in spite of herself. Later over lunch, she says she's sorry for ever doubting him in the first place. She introduces herself, also Mary. The two of them feel something. He drives her out to a falling down old church and tells her this is his dream. Buy this place, start his own congregation here. 7 years later, the dream is real. He's got his own church now, married to his second wife, Mary, raising a house full of kids. After a service one Sunday, an older woman comes up holding her grandson. She wants the preacher to take the boy on as a student. He's been hanging with the wrong people. The big man turns her down, tells her to find guidance in scripture instead. A week passes. While he's home wrestling around with his children, our guy catches something on the news. That same boy just got arrested. It hits him hard. He should have said yes. He finds an old building that would make a perfect youth gym and tells Desmond to grab it. Desmond, by the way, is still drinking. They renovate the place, and inside a few months, it's packed with kids. The preacher hires coaches and even sets aside a quiet room he names after Muhammad Ali, calls it the Ali Study Hall. A year in, mid-class, the lights cut out. Turns out from the power company that nobody's been paying. Worse, Desmond is gone. Ghosted. The big man drives to the bank, and the news is uglier than he thought. Desmond didn't park the money in safe investments. He gambled all of it on high-risk plays and lost everything. Now, the bank is going to take the property. His mom's house, too. Our guy goes ballistic. He's got half the city out looking for Desmond. His mom tells him to forgive the man. He finds his old friend at some bar trying to slip out the back. He grabs him and is 2 seconds from killing him with his bare hands. Catches himself just in time. Lets him go. Forgives him. To plug the hole, the preacher does whatever he can, shoots a barbecue sauce commercial, sells merchandise, pushes anything with his name on it. His wife tells him gently that they're nowhere near out of the woods. The bank starts taking property. The big man drops into a deep slump. He digs his old gym bag out and stares at it. He tells Mary he's asked another preacher to do Sunday's sermon. He can't stand up there preaching about righteous living when his own life is in pieces. He wants to box again. Mary doesn't want it. She's scared his rage will come right back. He tells her there are only 2 things in this world he knows how to do: box and preach. And preaching isn't keeping the lights on. So he goes back to Doc and asks for one more shot. Doc doesn't want any part of it. Says it broke his heart when our guy walked away the first time. Reminds him that when Joe Louis tried his comeback, Marciano nearly buried the man right there in the ring. But Joe started at the top. They're starting at the bottom. People are going to call them a circus act unless they keep winning. Then George says the words back to him, the same speech Doc's team gave him decades ago. The morning of a championship bout, the air is going to taste new. The light is going to look new. And in the whole wide world, only 2 guys are going to matter that day. This time, those 2 guys are going to be the 2 of them. Doc's eyes light right up. He tells our guy to drop the weight first. The big man squeezes back into his old workout gear and jokes that it must have shrunk on him. He starts running with his son, who tells the old man to slow down before he keels over. He has a brutal time of it, but Mary keeps him locked in on his diet plan. Months of that grind go by. He hits weight and is ready to train for real. In sparring, his speed is just gone. He can't keep up. Doc tells him no problem. They'll build him a brand new style. Sometime around the middle of one night, Mary jolts awake out of a vivid dream. Next morning, she tells our guy that during the dream, God showed her something. She saw him win the heavyweight belt all over again. The Lord raised him up at the center of a boxing ring so that he could lift the Lord's name back up, with the whole country watching from their living rooms. Right before the comeback bout, Doc says they need the old anger back to win this. The big man shakes his head. He's doing this without it. It's a sport. There are rules. He climbs through the ropes against Steve Zuski and tells Doc he's nervous to take the robe off. Last time these people saw him, he looked like Superman. Now he looks like the Michelin Man. Doc tells him this isn't a beauty pageant. The crowd notices the gut. Round 1. Our guy is too laid back. He doesn't even react when Zuski hits fights him after the bell. Round 2, the big man takes over. Zuski has nothing for him. He actually asked the ref to step in and stop it. That's the ref's job. The comeback story takes off. Headlines are calling him a hero for every chunky bald man in America. 24 wins later, at 42 years old, the big man gets his shot at the reigning champ, Evander Holyfield. The whole event gets promoted under one dramatic banner. They're calling it the Battle of the Ages. He fights his heart out and loses by decision. After the fight, he walks into his bank and the entire staff is on their feet cheering for him. He didn't win, but HBO paid him $12 million for showing up. He tells Mary the job isn't done. 3 years pass. Michael Moorer takes the belt off Holyfield. And just like that, our guy is back in the picture. He's 45. Moorer is 26, with 30 knockouts on his record and the distinction of being the first southpaw ever to hold this title. Nobody gives the big man a prayer. The fight starts, and Moorer takes the early rounds. The preacher is just hanging on. Back at his gym, his mom and the whole crew are screaming at the screen. After the 9th, his corner tells him there's no shame in stopping it. Going 9 full rounds with the planet's top guy kid, that's plenty. He waves it off. Round 10, George Foreman steps in and lands a clean, brutal right hand. Moorer hits the canvas. He doesn't get up. At 45 years old, the big man is the new heavyweight king of the world. He drops to his knees in that ring and thanks God right there. Title cards close it out. George Foreman, at 45, became the oldest man ever to hold the heavyweight crown, 20 years after losing it the first time around. He and Muhammad Ali turned into close friends, talking on the phone almost daily until the day Ali died. And in 1998, Charles Doc Broadus earned his spot in the World Boxing Hall of Fame. As of today, George is still preaching every Sunday at his own church and still running the youth center back home in Houston.